he's fully Black in the sense of this sort of chemical medical change to him that occurs in his origin story. So he's hybrid in one way, um, in the sense that he's completely one thing and also completely another, but also in another way that's an obvious paradox, because when we think about hybridity, we think about mixture in the sense of being kind of half-half, of the fractionalization of identity. And those fractionalizations of identity have been one of the main focal points in PCRS, or pre-modern critical race studies, as practiced by people who work on Latin Christendom, or people who work on Western European literatures, kind of because they immediately ask questions about, well, if you have a blended individual, if you have mixed people, what does that say about the success or viability of mixing cultures, of mixing societies? And so oftentimes pre-modern critical race studies have alighted on figures like the central character in the Digenis Akratos, a Byzantine epic that's sometimes said to have been composed around the same time as that of him, kind of on the other side of the war front, where you have a hero in the Byzantine armies who is born to a Saracen emir. Saracen is in like Muslim something, and a Byzantine woman. Or they've alighted on things like the German romance that has a figure named Parzival, who is literally piebald. He has mixtures of black and white on his body because, again, he has like a Saracen parent and a Christian parent, and this mixture literally doesn't go well to the point where you can see it on his body. And so one of the things I kind of argue is that Abd al-Wahhab is a hybrid hero, but he's presenting a very different kind of hybridity than these other heroes. And the reason that I say that is because there's a scholar of British literature, Jennifer de Vere Brody, who says, you know, if we presume hybridity, we're also presuming purity. And I'm not really sure that Abd al-Wahhab is a good example of thinking about purity, thinking about the possibility of being a pure Arab because of things like the paternalization of Nessa, because of things like the fact that you could be one thing on paper and look differently in actuality, or be considered differently in actuality. I think he's actually a great case for instead what Neda Maghboulah, who's a sociologist, calls racial loopholes, where you can have experiences of your racialization in the everyday that contravene you being labeled just one thing, and that mean that you maybe need another category entirely unto yourself to describe what your experience is. There maybe isn't language for you. And it's not because you're a mix of two things and they're both impure. It's because you're another thing that hasn't been described yet.